How's it going? This is Fox back again for sound design tutorials. I've been having a lot of interest in my virus tutorials of late, and I feel like I've been neglecting them, so I've sat down and I've made a luscious pulse width mod Pluck, I'm going to call it, because I've used the wavetable synthesizer within the virus. Both of them are different pulse width modulation wavetables, and on oscillator 3 I've got another pulse width. So yeah, I'll show you the sound quick. There you have it, beautiful Pluck. The Virus TI absolutely nails things like this very easily. Once you get the envelopes and the filters and stuff set up how you want, you can just literally flick through these wavetables. There's that many of them. Look, in every single different category, just oodles and oodles to choose from, all different categories, I say, different semitones. These wavetables really sound different what's the word I'm looking for? Depending on which semitone you have it. I mean, look what happens quickly as I just pitch this down an octave. You can drastically change the sound yourself once the patch is made, just by changing it up ever so easily. I'll just ask you now quickly to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel. Plenty more virus tutorials and other tutorials on all the different synths that I use. I do live streams as well. There'll be a link in the description to my Facebook and Google Plus page, where you need to sign on if you want to get details on when I do my live streams. But yeah, for now we're going to get going. I'm going to change to this scene so it's easier for you to see. I'm going to go ahead and initialize this patch. I'll just drag an empty one onto slot 1. So what you get as default, 2 saw waves. So yeah, let's get going then. So oscillator 1, as I say, they were both from the pulse width modulation wavetable, wave PWM. The wave I chose for the first one was Vonivox. I use this one quite a lot. I don't know why. It's got a lot of characteristics that I do like. We'll solo oscillator 1. Wavetable position at about on 28, and I pitch this one up 1 octave. Sounds a bit computery, a bit 8-bit at the minute. Oscillator 2 again is one of the wave PWM. This one was Bad Signs. This one's giving us the lower elements of the sound. I didn't pitch this one up any. The only thing I did do with this was detune this knob. When we introduce some pulse width modulation later on, which I do with an envelope, this detunes it. It's the new voices almost. It's hard to explain how these PWM ones work, but yeah, this only works when you're using the pulse width mod knob. We need to give that some on oscillator 1 also. Both I had virtually on the same amount, around about 38. So both together. Oscillator 3 is just a basic pulse again. Keep this one dead center also. The detune I pulled down from its original position to around about minus 25. And introduce some noise as well, quite heavy on the noise. The way I control it with envelopes later on is going to change how you hear this noise. Bit overpowering at the minute, but as I say, with the envelopes and stuff that we use later on, it really tones it down. It almost brings it just to the point of a percussive click at the start of the notes. So now we want to make it sound wider. 4 voices unison. I use a lot of effects and a lot of stuff later on, and it started to max out the virus's voices. I think it's 128 voices of polyphony or something, but you can easily max it out if you use a lot of effects, a lot of detuning, and a lot of unison. So I only use 4 voices unison for this, but it is enough, believe me. All 3 of the unison detune knobs around about 11 o'clock on a clock dial, and the punch intensity right around, because it's quite a percussive, plucky sound. can hear the lower harmonics that the bad sign's creating, and obviously the noisy part is going to get toned now by the filter. So we'll go to the filter section. I tried it in a few different modes. The serial 4 mode and the split mode both work equally as good. I'll change it to the split mode at the end, but the one I went for in the end was serial 4 mode. Serial or series, however you want to say it. This is a 12 dB low pass filter. The signal goes into filter 1 and then into filter 2. So whatever you do on filter 1 is going to have an adverse effect on the sound, and then it gets channeled into filter 2 where you can then hone it again. So yeah, all I did was pull the cutoff down of filter 1 to a starting position of around about 51, 50, something like that. Really dulls the sound down, you can hardly hear it. Say minus 30 on the second filter. It's cutting out virtually all of the sound. How you get that nice percussive plucky feel is by introducing a filter envelope. I kept the cutoff link and the filter link, so whatever we do now with this envelope is affecting both filters. Keep them both on positive, so the filter is going to open the filter to the right, and we want the envelope amount around about 76%. You can see what it's done to that noise source straight away. You're only getting a real click of the noise at the start of the sound. Kept both of the filters on the low pass as it comes as standard. No resonance needed, it didn't add anything to the sound. The only thing I did do in the distortion saturation section, when it's in series 4 mode, it shows you here, the saturation comes in between the filters. It's a neat little trick because it's getting toned by the filter on the way out. It is a very light saturation. I clicked it, turned it on, pretty much kept it where it was, so it was a nice blend between the saturation and the oscillator volume. What I did there, I just gave it a tiny little bit of attack on the main amp envelope and a bit of release. Because they're real short percussive notes, it just stops any clicks. Filter envelope, this one, just pull the decay down slightly to a starting position of around about 30. Starting to get there now. So yep, onto the is everything still okay? Yep, onto the LFO section now. So LFO, I only use one LFO for this. I tried using a square LFO to do something with a reverb, but it started to muddy up the sound a bit. So yeah, I'll just use one LFO for this. I used LFO 2. You can use any one you want, but for this purpose we'll use the one that I did. So LFO 2, what I did was oscillator 1 pulse width. I tried it for both pulse widths, but it's because the second oscillator that I showed you earlier, this bad signs, is taking care of the lower part of the sound. It smeared the sound a little bit too much for my liking, so I just chose to modulate the pulse width of only oscillator 1. I'll push it in. I'll set it up first. Actually, I had the rate on 1/1, which means it takes a bar for it to do a cycle, so it's nice and slow. Is it a bar? A beat. So it's not very fast, but fast enough so that you're going to hear it change. Trigger phase I had round. This means every new time a new note is introduced, it restarts at the starting point of this triangle wave. So yeah, I'll dial this in the amount that I had whilst it's playing. Gives it a nice spreading effect. I'll pull it in and out again, see if you can hear the difference. I had it round about 67%. Yeah, it's quite subtle. You might not be able to hear what it's doing, but I can. It just sort of spreads the oscillator one a little bit, make it take up a little bit more of the spectrum. As I say, LFOs, that's it done. It's all the effects now and a bit of modulation in the matrix section as well to give it a bit more percussive pluckiness. We'll go to FX1 now. I didn't do anything. I just boosted the analog boost a tiny bit tiny bit of boost on the mids, and tiny bit of boost on the highs. That's it. Less is more sometimes on a nice clean sound like this. You don't need to pummel it with too many effects. You can really drastically change how it sounded. Phasers and distortion on a Pluck like this, you're not generally going to want. Filter, bit of frequency shifter maybe probably would have been nice with some modulation, but didn't need it. Okay, world-class effects now, delay and the reverb inside the virus. There is nothing that I've got that anywhere comes near to the quality that these can give you. So yeah, reverb, turn it on. I had it on minus 12 dB. It was on a small room. The decay around about 52. Damping on dead zero, so it's fully reverb as it's meant to be heard. No pre-delay. I'll leave it playing, I'll turn the delay on and I'll set it up how I had it, and then I'll talk through it afterwards so you can hear it as it comes in. So yeah, I had it on classic delay, which is the classic virus delay, pattern 3 and 3, so it's 3 pings to the left, 3 pongs to the right. It is a ping-pongy style. It doesn't say it's ping-pong, but it is. You can hear them alternating. Quite a bit of feedback, so they tail off into the distance. The send amount was minus 0.75 dB. Quite close to where we had it now. There's a few bits of modulation we need to do with a couple of other envelopes and stuff just to get it how I wanted it. I used a aux envelope, or envelope 3. It was a real percussive, real snappy envelope. A decay of around about 6 or 7, I think it was, something like that. We'll go back to the matrix section now. We'll use this one here, envelope 3. I use this to do oscillator 1 pitch and oscillator 2 pitch. Oscillator 1 pitch, oscillator 2 pitch. Had them an octave apart from each other. So oscillator 1 I had on plus 12. Oscillator 2 minus 12. This is just gonna, I'll tell you what, I'll put them on 0 and I'll slide them up so you can hear the effect it's having. It's gonna quickly, as a note's pressed, it's gonna push it up really fast an octave or down respectively, and then bring it back to the original sound. It just gives it a nice bit of punch at the start. Decay on around about 8 or 9. If you give it too much decay, you start getting a laser effect. I'll show you what that sounds like. Not what we want. We just want that real flick of pitch right at the start of the sound. So yeah, as I say, decay of 8. Matrix section, oscillator 1 plus 12, oscillator 2 minus 12. Excuse me. The only modulation I had was mod wheel now, just so you can open the sound up. I like to do this a lot with Pluck, so as they're playing you can sort of just push them out just to spread the sound out a bit. And the things I did for that was filter envelope decay. This is what is controlling the length of the plucks on the filter. So filter envelope decay. Before I dial in any amount, I'll show you what it's like to do it manually. So filter envelope. So yeah, we need to dial in an amount that we want the mod wheel to control what we just did. I didn't have it all the way up, I had it around about plus 25. So now the mod wheel is controlling that. Handy to have if you're playing something like this live, or even if you're just recording it into your set and you want to record the automation opening and closing the filter up. Nice for changing the sound up. The mod wheel, I also had control in the delay send. When I opened the sound up, I didn't want the delay to sort of wash over the sound too powerfully, so I set it to the delay send, pull it almost to dead zero. So now that means as we use the mod wheel to open the filter decay up, it's going to decrease the amount of delay. I also use it to increase the reverb send, same reason. Positive around about 26. Bring that down a bit, about plus 13. I use this for another destination as well, so up here it's already mapped to it, mod wheel. I use this for ring modulator. This is in the oscillator section. I didn't want it to be on constantly on the plucky part of the sound, but it did make a nice addition to the sound. As we opened it up, you're going to hear that. I'll play it again in the ring modulator so you can see what it does without the mod wheel. Almost acts as some sort of distortion, but yeah, the amount that I had for that was quite heavy. It was around about 3/4, plus 40, plus 50. So yeah, as we open it up with a mod wheel, the reverb's going to, the delay is going to decrease, the reverb is going to increase, and the ring modulator is going to come in just to fuzzy it up a bit. So yeah, as for modulations and stuff and the patch setup, that is it done. So yeah, I'll show you the notes I've got in this MIDI clip that I was playing. It's a real simple progression. Both the notes are the same. It's nothing too crazy. If you open the mod wheel out, trance music and progressive house and stuff, you could have that opening out over 16 bars or something like that, just gradually building up the tension of the track. But yeah, for now that's it. I'm going to call this PWM Pluck or something like that. Real lovely sound. Didn't take me long to make with a virus. As I say, it's real easy. Nothing too untowards. Neat little trick using the pitch, a snappy envelope on the pitch to give a bit of pluck at the start. And controlling things going in and out with the mod wheel. Okay, yeah, as I say, I hope you learned something. More virus tutorials to come. I'm going to focus on this for a while. I haven't got any projects on at the minute. So yeah, as always, make sure you subscribe. Facebook and Google Plus pages, make sure you sign up to them to hear when I'm going to be doing my streams. Oh, and my EDM Soundbank, my Serum Soundbank EDM Essentials is out. Go and grab it. Link in the description. As always, thanks for watching. Cheers.